You're listening to the Midwest Most Dangerous Podcast, Season 15, Episode 4. This is LockPod, coming to you live from the NECA IBW Power in Indiana Lake County Studios.
My God, the switch.
We're here.
I've got emotional whiplash right now.
Yeah, dude.
That's a good way to put it.
We went through a whole, saga before we got on the air.
You did. We just witnessed it,
we just
lot.
watched you go up and down, and then we wondered where you were going to come in.
Well, then we realized we didn't have much to talk about in the first segment, and you guys quickly said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's talk about what the mayor is talking about.
I don't think I said that.
I never agreed to that.
Someone out there hire a lip reader to lip read the first 5 minutes of the intro song of Tom.
If you do that, you deserve you deserve to get that.
Every horrible
It was a colorful
detail.
episode. It was a colorful conversation we had.
Yeah.
It was kind of just you talking, but
I was pissed off first thing this morning. That's the thing about my job that's interesting is you wake up, open the newspaper, and it's like instantly pissed off, right? Like it's friggin' 6:01. I open up the Times, I get my coffee, and I look at the headline, and I'm like, oh, Hammond School's chief claimed hostile workplace.
right here.
So above the fold.
Right there.
And I know a lot about this situation because the Hammond Schools chief that's claiming the hostile work environment, I had lunch with her last week.
And
we talked for like 2 hours.
Dr. Reed?
Yeah, Dr. Talisa Reed. Okay? She got fired by the school city.
Nice
Hammond.
woman?
She's great.
Never met her.
Seemed very nice.
She inherited a not good job.
Well,
Very
yeah.
difficult.
It's a great job, a shitty boss.
Yeah.
And the boss in this case is the Hammond School Board. It's a shitty boss. The Hammond School Board is completely dysfunctional. And it's led by a woman that's mean and vindictive. And the reason the Dr. Reed is claiming a hostile workplace in the Hammond School City is because of the president of the school board. That's the most important part of the entire story. What I just said, that one sentence. The person creating a hostile workplace in the Hammond School City is the president of the school board, Carlotta Blake King. That's the most important fact in this whole story. And I read a Times above the fold front page story, and it omits that most important fact.
Do you think they talked to Dr. Reed?
Yes, they did.
The Times did?
I don't know. Maybe they did. I don't know, Kevin. But why would you do a
But
front
you talked
page?
to Dr. Reed.
I did.
And that's where you got the information.
She told
from.
me everything that's going on, and it's outrageous what's going on in the Hammond School City.
So we need a follow-up story.
Maybe
But
it's like a...
it's a front page above the fold story, Kevin. That's like I'm an old-fashioned guy, okay? And when you get a newspaper front page above the fold, that means something. That means this is a big-time story. We're leading off our daily publication with it. We've researched this important issue, and we want to present it to you, our readers. And then you read it, and it doesn't say shit.
I was a little surprised that it didn't go on to another page. Usually the headline story usually goes on like page
Pages
3.
in.
Page
I don't know
A3,
why I pay
yeah.
for this freaking newspaper.
I
I'm
still
thinking
like
about
getting the paper.
I do too because I'm nostalgic. Not because it's a good product anymore. It's like if I go to Freddy's Steakhouse every week and I'm just doing it because, right? And then I eat a steak and there's a freaking hair in it. And I'm like, there's a hair in my steak. I'm still coming back right?
We're not saying Freddy's has steak in
No,
there.
we're not saying that. I'm just saying for instance.
They
For
don't
legal
have-
reasons, that's a joke.
I love
Kevin,
Freddy's
you
Steakhouse.
said they don't have steak in their hair.
Oh, hair in their steak.
Right.
Okay.
No, it had
We need
Freddy's
to be clear.
Steakhouse.
Thanks,
we need to be
Lance.
clear.
I went there last week and I ate a great meal, by the way. I'm just
Yes.
using it as an example, okay?
Yes.
Sorry, Freddy's.
When I got the Times newspaper this morning, I felt like there was a hair in my steak.
Because you didn't have a detailed article.
I'm like, I know about this situation. Hate to say the Times I know for a fact. Let me just tell you, Kevin.
For a fact.
I know for a fact the Times editors know everything about this situation. I know for a fact. I'm going to let you ponder that, okay? How you think I know this for a fact. So they're very aware. The Times editors, are very aware of this entire situation. They're very aware of the hostile workplace that's created by the school board president. They're very aware of all
the
this.
allegations
The
that
allegation.
Dr. Reed is saying
Right.
are caused by the... Okay,
They're
yeah.
very aware. The Times editors are. And they chose to write this front page above the fold story. They chose to talk about the hostile workplace, and yet they failed to admit the most important part, the person that creates the hostile workplace.
Well, maybe it's like one of those things where like the paper's trying to do like the carrot and stick, like stick around.
Yeah.
Stay
Is it
around.
like a
We're going to have another.
suspenseful?
Yeah.
Tomorrow
maybe
we'll talk about who created the hostile. Whatever.
Tomorrow, maybe
This is
there's
the
going to be
trailer.
section 2.
Or
I'm so
devil's
upset.
advocate. Maybe it's like because it's a personnel issue, they have to keep some things.
Gotta be
Okay,
careful.
John, let me ask you. Let's
I'm
change the
just-
facts.
okay.
Let's change the facts.
That's reasonable, John. He doesn't want to hear that.
No, let's change the facts. If this was Civil City Hammond and it would be a man. John, let's say I was a total jag-off to you at work, and I was just like terrorizing you, and you were like, screw this, man, and you quit, and you're like, I'm quitting because the mayor
work environment
is creating a hostile work environment. Yeah. And you went to the Times, and you fed this story to the Times about the mayor creating a hostile work environment. I have no doubt in my mind that if this article appeared the next day, my name would be all over it. My picture would be all over it. They'd be talking about it, right? But when it comes to Miss Carlotta Blake King, the president of the school board, who's creating this hostile work environment, that's my opinion, okay? They refuse to talk about her. Why? Why is Carlotta Blake King the one creating a hostile work environment not being talked about?
It's interesting that the school board attorney, Jewel Harris, told the Times that the district had not received notice of nor been served with any EEOC complaints. So I'm wondering if maybe the Times doesn't have a copy of it yet, but you said for a fact that they know.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know. Maybe
for a fact.
Maybe it's
they
another.
Know.
Maybe it's another
for a fact.
article coming.
Why would they do that? I don't.
To
make
drum
you
up
mad.
Viewership.
Good job. Good job. Mission accomplished. I don't even know why I cooperate with them anymore. I don't even know why when a reporter calls me, I pick up the goddamn phone. Honestly, they fumble the ball every time.
GD.
He said the GD.
It is ridiculous, dude. It is ridiculous how poor our local newspapers, how far they've fallen. It is ridiculous, dude.
Well, I think it's a national issue, right?
It is a national issue, but it's not good for government. It's not good for you, the taxpayers out there. And believe me, I should be celebrating the fact that they're so broken. I should be celebrating because this is the watchdog that's supposed to watch me.
I know it's gotten expensive.
It's $900 a year.
We get the Times and the Post here at the office, and
$900 for that one right there, and then the other one's another $400 or $500 a year.
They usually put at the bottom how much it costs. Remember, it used to be like a quarter or 50 cents in the machine.
I'm pissed, man. I am just pissed.
You are?
Yes. Yes.
I know.
Really, dude.
You're pretty hot.
I don't get it, man. I just I guess I'm just old-fashioned, man. I just expect the press to do their job. I expect government to do their job, and we're like watchdogs. We're supposed to be watching each other.
$3.
I should
$3
be celebrating
here. $3.
I should be celebrating that they're broken. I should honestly be celebrating. And then, by the way, Blockpot audience, you want to see how it works now? You watch my coverage over the next month. You watch. My coverage over the next month is going to take a slant to the negative because that's what happens. You piss everybody off, and they're like, "Oh, fuck you. We're going to cover everything you do now." You know.
Well, maybe there's a reason they didn't say names. I don't know.
We'll wait and see. Maybe they'll have a follow-up. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
The school city is broken. I'm very frustrated as the mayor. Okay, I think
I'm frustrated as a resident.
I'm frustrated. In my opinion, Kevin, I don't know how you feel in your opinion. We all have opinions on why the school city is broken. Okay, the school city is broken, in my opinion. Primarily, one of the leading reasons is because Miss Blake King, the school board president, creates hostile work environments. She's a mean person, and she treats employees like crap, including the superintendent of schools. The last one quit and came to work for me. This one quit her job, moved across the country to move to Hammond, Indiana, and she didn't last a couple months.
Well, the concern I have is not even, when you say even, I know you're referring to Scott Miller, but I mean, this is the irony of this, is that he's not really the last one.
No.
There's been 4 superintendents at the school city of Hammond in 1 year.
Yes.
And if that's not a broken leadership model, I don't know what is. I mean, how can you, if I, my kids are all out of school now, or they're, in college and beyond, right? So if I had a kid that was in elementary school and starting out at one of the elementary schools, which, I went to elementary school in Hammond, and I'd be concerned because you're like, look, I want my kid to get a good education.
Of course.
And I want my kid to succeed. And if I feel like the administration of the school board is dysfunctional and they can't keep a superintendent, which means what about the other jobs? Like, are there other jobs being vacated?
Yeah,
are people getting fired?
Yes.
Are teachers getting laid off? Are schools getting closed? That falls at the feet of the school board. Mm-hmm. And it is obviously dysfunctional and needs changed.
And how about this, Kevin? Now, we know one thing. Today being election day for the properly functioning school cities across Indiana. Right now, we have 2 school cities that are trying to get referendums passed today. I think it's Crown Point
and Hobart.
And Hobart, by the way.
I was already down there opening up the election.
Okay, so these 2 communities are working right now to try to increase funding for schools. Mm-hmm. Our school board can't even keep a damn superintendent. Much less try to coordinate a referendum to convince Hammond that it needs more money.
There were members of the school board that were outwardly against the referendum last time it was up in Hammond.
Carlotta Blake King.
Yeah.
Right?
She was one of them.
We're going to talk about it, right? Just because I'm not going to play
I've
like
talked about
Times.
it before.
I agree. But Part of the problem in school cities is what the Times did today. Part of the problem is the Times feels intimidated to say Carlotta Blake King's name.
I'm not sure why, but
I agree with you, Kevin.
So, I mean,
she's the president of the school board. She's a politician. She ran for this spot. She, in my opinion, is one of the main reasons the school city's struggling right now is because she's a mean, unprofessional person, and she's not doing a good job as the president of the school board.
Well, my biggest issue with Carlotta Blake King as president of the school board is that she, well, maybe not as president, as a member, she was against the referendum. I couldn't find out. I mean,
she was.
I mean,
right.
I'm sitting here, I'm sitting here thinking, as a taxpayer,
Why?
I'm willing to vote yes.
Why was she against it, Kevin?
I have no idea. I mean, at the end of the day, what happened as a result?
Can you speculate? I know why she was.
I have no idea. I don't want.
I don't know for a fact. This is my opinion.
Yeah.
Scott Miller was the superintendent. She hated Scott.
She
Miller.
wanted Scott to fail.
Right.
Wow,
yeah, that could be.
That would be deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that deep, being honest. I think that if you ask Scott why Carlotta was against it, he would tell you in 1 second. He'd be like, because I was superintendent. She didn't want to help me in my job. She wanted me to fail so that she can get her superintendent and put it in there. Well, she did that.
Scott, jump on our Zoom. We'll talk about it.
She got her superintendent. Her superintendent moved from Washington, moved to Hammond, Indiana.
Or no, didn't. Was going to, and never even got the chance to move because
So
they put
she
her on
gets
administrative leave.
And then they put her on administrative leave within a couple. This is her person.
Yeah.
John, what Kevin said, there's 4 superintendents in the last year. They've had 4.
Why did they put this person on administrative leave immediately? Was it?
I'm going to tell you.
Who knows?
It had to do with the termination. Okay? That the school board president told the superintendent of schools, I want you to fire this person that works in the school city. And she was like, no, I'm not firing this person. There's no reason to fire this person because the superintendent, who's a PhD candidate, was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
So you've got inside info.
I do have inside info.
Well, he's the mayor.
Right. I do have inside info. And I know for a fact everybody's aware of the facts. So, like, when I opened my newspaper this morning, I expect to read the story, right? Instead, I read this watered-down version.
Maybe they don't have the facts.
They have the facts. They absolutely have the facts. They absolutely have the facts.
All I know is that when I was thinking to myself, as a taxpayer, I'm going to vote yes for a referendum, saying that I'm going to pay more taxes, knowing I'm going to pay more taxes, or maybe a little bit more, whatever it is, or keep the same taxes I have, whatever, and that you have people leading the school city that are against it. And what happens? Teachers got laid off. Schools got closed.
I maintain it was just a bad timing for a referendum.
I agree, John. It was definitely bad. And they shouldn't have gone for 2 at that time. They should have focused on the teacher referendum instead of going for another capital. That was not a good decision in hindsight.
Well, then start it up again. Get another one going.
Okay.
So then what? So under what leadership and what's going to? I mean,
right.
We need to get Carlotta King off the school board. That's what needs to happen to fix the Hammond School City.
We need to get her for an interview.
There is no way I'd bring
That'd be awesome.
There's no way she'd come in. I would bring her in. Hell yeah. It would be the best.
You'd be fair.
It would be. I would ask her. I wouldn't be the freaking Times today.
No, but
I wouldn't be like not asking questions. I would ask her specific questions.
Right.
I would definitely bring her on there.
Yeah.
Let's go, Carlotta.
All right.
Come on in.
The invitation's out
there.
there.
We'll let you Zoom because she won't sit next to me.
Yeah.
I know she won't. We'll let you Zoom in.
Mm-hmm. By the way, chat is great right now. A couple comments.
Kevin doesn't look happy right now.
I mean, I don't know if I want to interview her.
I agree, but like,
I guess. I mean, it's hard for me to not go to the school board meetings and just go to public comment. I just do it because I don't want people to think like, oh, Tom made him go there.
I agree with you.
It's like I want to go there as a resident and a taxpayer and complain about the job they're doing.
Go there and say what you just said at the beginning. Say, hey, listen, I'm corporate counsel for the city, but I'm not here as corporate counsel. Yeah. I'm here as a citizen, and I'm disgusted with what you guys are doing.
That's basically what I'd be saying. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's terrible leadership. I feel.
It's
you know
terrible.
what I feel?
The school board members should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
I feel the worst, or at least those that aren't, that are responsible for this. I don't know if all 5 are. For all I know, is 2 or 3 of them are doing a great job.
Yeah.
But and so I would go there and say, you know what I really feel bad for? I feel bad for young parents that have kids in this school system.
I do too. I feel bad for. I feel bad for us too. Us, the civil city.
Absolutely,
we're out here busting our ass trying to change this city, and we're getting no cooperation from the school board at all.
Because we
all know 0% cooperation.
Yeah, we all know that a strong school city or a strong school town helps make your city that much more attractive to people that are looking to locate.
It's embarrassing, Kevin. So and when people talk to me about schools in Indiana, I'm the wrong person to talk to because my school city is flat broken. So when they talk to me about public schools in Indiana, I'm like, dude, parents have to do what they have to do because my school city's broken and it's getting more broken. It's like they're taking the broken pieces and they're shattering them even more.
And the real thing I hope is that the school city rights itself and gets better for the parents and kids, and especially the kids that are going there and the teachers.
I've
and the
supported
staff
every
and everybody
referendum
else.
they've gone for.
I have too.
But I'll be honest with you, under this leadership, if Miss King came up to me and said, Mayor, I need your help on a referendum, there's no way I would help her. There's no way. I would think it would be a huge waste of money giving her and her leaders money. I would be like, there's no way, Miss King, that I could support a school city that's led by you. There's no way.
I think the only way that I could support a referendum would be is if there's a superintendent in place that has a plan that is supported by the administration at City Hall.
They had that.
Yeah,
and
is like we're gonna
multiple times.
We're gonna right the ship and let's get things moving.
Scott Miller was an excellent school. He was an excellent superintendent, Kevin. We had a great relationship, but she didn't like that because she doesn't like me. So she fired him. Or, excuse me, he quit and came to work for me. I apologize, Scott. Okay? And then they got the temporary superintendent, and then they got another permanent superintendent, and they didn't like her. So they fired her. It's like...
It's frustrating.
It makes me feel like no matter what I do, it makes me feel like what we're doing is hopeless because it's hard to sell a city with a completely dysfunctional school city. And I'm like working my ass off for the last 22 years of my career to try to make Hammond shine. And we brought in $1 billion. We brought in $1 billion, Kevin. And it's like, I just want a little bit of support from the school city. Just give me some cover here, guys. We're trying to sell our city. And it's just basic incompetence. And then you're like, media. Help me out, media. Do your freaking job, media. Help me out because the school city's broken. And then they finally get all the facts and they do an above the fold, front page story. And they fail to say the person that's causing all the chaos. They fail to say her name.
I'm hoping they do a follow-up.
It's a failure, man. It's like, God damn,
I would
all
love
the
to
way
see
around, just a failure.
I'd love to see like a Sunday in-depth, interview with Superintendent Reed.
Investigation.
Yeah.
Right.
How was the Cubs game? I feel like every time we're on the air, Tom's arriving back from a Cubs game.
I've been to 7 games this year.
I'm jealous, man.
Chase has been too.
To 2, right?
No, I just said he went also.
Yeah. Chase went to one of them with me. I went to 7.
7. Does that include the
3
A's
on the road
series? Wow.
3 on the road.
3 on the road now.
Yeah. Marissa and I went to Milwaukee over the weekend. We went for a one-day trip.
Man, nice. You're going to be super fan this year.
Yeah. I went for one day.
The way
there.
they're playing,
I've done 4 at Wrigley.
Yeah.
But
have you seen a loss yet?
1 loss. I'm 6-1.
6-1.
Yeah, I'm a good fan. You should be encouraging me to go to more games.
With that record, well, you're taking responsibility for Dansby's, rise.
I am taking responsibility. He
must have known you're in the stands.
No, he hit a double last night.
No, he's 3 for 4.
Yeah, he was 3 for 4. I know. When I bought his jersey, he was batting 180, and he's batting like 230 right now.
I think he knew.
That's
Tom.
straight up.
I think he knew you were in the game.
He should know I'm in the game.
He's like, my boy's here.
I was yelling at him. I was like, "Hey, Dansby, 180, I'm here."
Was he out of the dugout for the? Or you probably weren't there for the?
No,
made it?
I was.
You made the national anthem.
Yes, and he was standing at attention, but there was more Cubs standing at attention with him.
Bringing him out,
but
man.
Like,
he's a leader.
Out. So I was with Dave Uran last night. I was at Dave's seats, okay, and we were talking. Dave's working in the private sector now, doing capital projects now. But the thing about Dave, as soon as I sat down, he goes, "We never leave early." And I was like, fuck.
And if you know Tom's saying, we're always leaving early.
Yeah. I haven't seen Go Cubs Go since 2016, dude. I'm not even shitting.
Same for concerts. You don't like to stay for the encore.
I don't like getting stuck after the show.
I don't either. I'm with Tom on this. Yeah. I do not like getting stuck.
So like if I'm at a Dead show and we're at Wrigley, we'll leave during like the last song.
We know when the last song
is.
you
know when the last song is, and you leave while they're playing it, and you beat everybody out.
I do that for almost every concert now.
I do that for almost every event I go to, unless I'm like on the road, right? So last night, Dave makes a point right as soon as I sit down. He's like, "We never leave early, Tom." And I was like, "Well, it's been a while since I've seen Go Cubs Go, so let's hope they win." And they won. I watched Go Cubs Go. Nice. I even filmed it, so I'm good for another decade. I didn't mean to come in on fire, guys. I apologize. No, seriously. Like, if you think I'm on fire now, when I woke up at 6 a.m., you should have seen me. I got in here at 7:30.
Poor Marissa.
Yeah, no, she was asleep for most of it. I was just very upset. I just feel like it's a lost cause, Lindsay. I just don't know what I'm...
Well, I mean, I used to work for them. So.
I know that. Why did you quit as a teacher, Lindsay? I know the answer to this. It's rhetorical. Exactly. The pay.
And the quality. I mean, I like my students. Everyone assumes it was the students. I love my students. I still keep in touch with a good number of them. But I had 38 kids in a speech class, and that is...
And that was freshmen too, right?
They were, that was, mostly freshmen. And, you're still trying to get them used to, behaving in a classroom. But when you got 38 kids in a classroom, you don't have enough desks for those kids. and then they're all like practicing speeches at the same time. That gets real chaotic really fast, and it's very hard to keep track, like to keep that class under control. So
I remember when you first became a teacher, Lindsay's first gig as a teacher was 9th grade remedial reading at Morton High School. In Morton High School, for those of you, I realize not everybody listening to the show knows where Morton High School is. Morton High School is in the city of Hammond. It's a big high school with a big population, and remedial reading.
This was before they closed Gavin and Clark, so they've gotten bigger since.
But like, so Lindsay's class was kids, 9th grade kids that were struggling with reading, and that was her first gig as a teacher. And that was pretty challenging, right?
Yeah. But, you know, they always tell you your first year teaching, expect to go home crying.
Did you?
Yeah. A couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a pretty tough chick.
I am now. Teaching definitely helps.
Tom, I wanted to just back up some information just because I got a copy of an official email.
Okay.
This kind of backs up because you said, you know, for a fact this and that. And I think it kind of backs up what you said.
Thank God.
So this is a you're telling me. So
yeah, Kevin's like, for legal purposes.
I love this live, information's coming in while we're on the air.
Dude, if you did this to Trump, he'd throw you in prison. You're fact-checking me on the air.
Yes, fact-checking on the air, but I'm doing it in a good way. So this is actually a correspondence from to Lisa Reed, the former superintendent, I guess the current superintendent. She's on administrative leave, to directly to Carlotta Blake King.
No, that makes it easy.
Said that she's filed. I'm just going to read this. I filed one, and she's talking about an EEOC complaint myself, as I have been subjected to harassment, intimidation, and bullying that has created a hostile work environment for me. This is due to retaliation for me not firing an employee illegally.
Wow. Sounds familiar.
And for my participation in a protected activity as mandated by law. I've made several attempts to remedy any issues, but to no avail. And the attacks have gotten increasingly worse and are making it difficult for me to carry out my duties as a superintendent. I cannot and will not continue to work in a hostile, vindictive environment, nor will I cave in to doing illegal and unethical things that I'm directed to by our board president.
Oh, my.
So, good. She said it.
Yeah.
She said it.
That is a quote.
That's
from
amazing
an email.
that you got that.
Yeah.
Good job. Kevin tells me I'm inside. You got the magic email sent to you during the show. Okay.
Hey, I've got I can't reveal my sources,
You obviously
man.
have your sources, right? So you go, Tom knows inside information. During the damn show, he gets the magic email sent to him.
I'm fact checking you, man.
You did. You confirmed everything.
By the way,
am I confirmed?
Congratulations on being very factual.
Thank you. Thank you.
As,
Ron Pestimer, are you listening right now? My freaking insurance carrier.
Self applause. Well deserved.
Thank you, Ron Pestimer. Lower our rates.
You're well
trained. Thank you. Yes.
God damn.
I was kind of nervous for a second there. We were going to get sued again.
Lindsay, I was petrified.
She's a public official.
Because I could tell on his face that he's like, oh shit.
Kevin's sending a message out. Please tell me this isn't illegal.
Freaking McDermott walks in. It's not even on the script. Freaking spouting bullshit. I could tell Kevin was not pleased.
All I could think was the first 20 minutes are going to be played in a courtroom sometime.
We've heard it before.
You said the GD, and John was like, no.
How about this? So I'm in Spiros' deposition, right? And I'm getting deposed, and there's freaking
shut up.
There's 12 lawyers around the table, right? And they're all making $500
you're
an hour.
in your own deposition.
My deposition in Spiros' case. Excuse me. Okay. So I'm in there, and there's all high-priced lawyers, including Kevin Chandler Smith, all around this table. Everybody's
Very
getting paid $1 million except for me, right? And they're asking me these questions. It was just so intense. I forgot what I was going to say there.
That's
actually.
okay. It was an intense.
They didn't dep me.
What were we talking about? Right
I thought the weirdest thing about that was Spiro was on Skype during the whole thing, or he was on Zoom. He wasn't there.
Yeah,
he was just. On
Didn't
Zoom.
he recently get deposed?
That's what I heard.
I heard it was juicy about me.
Not sure.
I want to read a copy of that dep, Kevin.
We said that on last week's show that I was going to be Spiros and we were going to read it like a script.
Oh,
when are we going to get that, dude?
Don't know.
Because Lindsay's got to.
I haven't acted in a while, but I've been practicing.
So you're going to be Spiros.
Yeah.
You have to wear a distracting loud
We've
shirt.
talked about this. Don't worry. I'm a method actress.
Method actress.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go around being an asshole to everybody. No,
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa.
I mean,
that's a
Spiros,
joke.
So.
That's a joke.
That's a joke.
I don't know this
You
man.
can't get sued for that.
Relax.
I don't know. I kind of want to
Who
be
knows?
deposed. I've never been deposed before.
It's exciting.
We're wading into too many weird waters on the show. We need to back up a little bit.
For this
Can we just go into the ball sack video, please? That's about.
As it turns out, the ball sack video was the safest thing by far to do. Yeah.
Wait, I do want to wrap up the first topic here.
Okay.
I was just thinking, when Kevin was reading that letter, 3 months on the job. You don't even have your bearings yet, right? And she's being asked to fire someone illegally? Is that what she's saying?
That's what she's alleging, yes.
This is wild stuff, man.
Let me, and this goes back
to
who
they're trying to fire.
I know everything about this.
We're gonna.
I don't need to say it on air.
Going to the ball sack video.
Yeah. Listen. It has to do with this doctor's previous role. That's why Miss King is mad at her now, because before she came to the Hammond School City, she had a job that was a little bit controversial with some people. Okay, so Miss King is holding her career against her. Basically, it's just where you came from before you got here. So Miss King's just like, fire her, right?
Should I mute Tom, Kevin?
No,
she's a public official, dude.
Okay.
That's what I was told. That's what I was told. Okay, that's what I was told.
Okay,
and I'm just repeating what I was told. And I think you'll find the facts of this case support what I just said out loud. So,
all right.
Chat is awesome right now.
Right.
They're saying, like, I think it's time for ads.
Are they?
Move on.
Is this a bad topic?
No.
Is this bad? I mean, are you nervous?
I think it's an interesting topic. It's important that we talk about things
that
are going on in our community.
Because obviously everybody's afraid of this topic, right? The Times. This is like the bellwether of our media locally. They're afraid to say her name, Miss King's. I'll say it.
If they have a copy of the letter, they should have put that in there.
They know everything about this, Kevin. Trust me. They know everything about this. Everything. Every fact, everything about this situation. They've known for a couple weeks. And they chose to write this story above the fold front page without mentioning the person that caused the hostile workplace. That's insane.
I wonder if I always wonder, like, in articles like that, if they're edited or if they like said something. You know what I mean? Like, if
I think they have a lawyer that's paranoid.
I don't know why.
Because there's somebody that's like, you can't say her name because we don't know if it's true or not. And even though she's a politician, and I guarantee you, if somebody made an allegation about Mayor McDermott, there's been a million of them. They print it. So they have no problem with a guy like me. But with Miss King, hey, we got to be really careful.
I don't know why.
Well, she will sue you, by the way, because she's done it before. She's a politician, by the way. And you could talk about elected officials.
She's elected official.
Right. Yeah, she's a public figure. I could talk about public figures, and I am talking about a public figure. Carlotta Blake King, the Hammond President School Board, is causing chaos in the school city of Hammond. I'm sick of it. I'm
mayor.
As mayor. I'm sick and tired of it, and I'm not going to allow it anymore. And I'm going to call her shit out every time I see it. I'll do it right here on Lockpod, and our insurance rates will double. So...
Well, we have a guest in 10 minutes, so let's get to this scrotum video.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll skip that again. It's old news anyway. Let's go to ads.
So basically...
I want to get to the Trump thing. I
got
to get to the Trump. I got to
it?
get to Rokita and Trump.
Okay, let's do this real quick. So basically, this is something for you to watch. If it was during NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns...
We are doing this? Okay.
Well, we don't have to look at it.
Yeah.
No, we have to look at it.
Look at it.
Was that on purpose? So question is, so the Cleveland Browns have a dog bone in the background when they're announcing their draft picks?
Well, don't forget, the Cleveland Browns like dog pound, right? There's all this like stuff, dog this, dog that.
So they have a dog theme in this football team. And now every time one of their draft picks walked up, the dog bone was bouncing up and down. And if you take a picture just the right way, it looks like male genitalia. A lot. Lindsay's the nurse. It looks like male genitalia, right?
Scrotum like.
I just don't know why they made that color, like it's skin color. Why wouldn't you make the bone like
Have you seen a bone, Kevin?
Is it that color?
Yes.
It depends on what kind of bone it is, I guess.
I guess.
Are you kidding me?
A dog bone?
It looks a lot like a ball sack.
They're getting teabagged, too. Like just standing underneath.
It's like you're in the lobby of a Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so gross. Yeah.
On to ads.
All right. Let's do some ads.
We're going to come back. We're going to do a new complaint against Todd Rokita by a member of his own party and some really crazy Trump interview that takes about a minute and a half.
Hey, just think, if this does get played in court one day, they're going to hear us go like, all right, we're done with the school city stuff. Now on to this guy getting teabagged.
Or play the ball sack video.
This is a weird whiplash start to the
Poor
day.
Lindsay.
Yeah. That's why
I've been awake all night, and I cannot wait to go to bed.
This is a dream. Doesn't it feel like a dream?
Nightmare.
I'm hallucinating right now.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lockpod, the Midwest's most dangerous podcast.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Powering Indiana Lake County is your source for the region's
sponsors.
For the region's most trusted electricians.
Santos' favorite podcast.
At Powering Indiana Lake County, we set the standard for excellence in electrical work. As IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors, we ensure safety, reliability, and quality for Northwest Indiana corporations, businesses, and homes alike. But our mission goes beyond the job site. We're creating a brighter future for the region we proudly serve. Powering Indiana Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community. Find the right electrical contractor at poweringindiana.org.
Branding room floor. Don't let your business get lost in a shuffle of generic branding and aimless marketing. Trust Northwest Indiana's award-winning full-service marketing agency, The Branding Room Floor. Providing data-driven results to help your business grow in a crowded market is their specialty. From website development and digital advertising to graphic design and branding, The Branding Room Floor will set your business or organization on a clear path to strategic success. Don't wait another day to get started. Visit thebrandingroomfloor.com today.
Are you facing legal challenges and don't know where to turn? Look no further than Kuklakis Law, your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and Illinois. Do you need representation for buying or selling real estate? Call Kuklakis Law. Do you need help forming your business? Call Kuklakis Law. Did you get injured in a car crash or at your job? Call Kuklakis Law. No matter what your legal issue, call 219-671-6347 for a free consultation. And who are you going to call? Kuklakis Law. Hablamos Español.
When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business, Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 55 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more and to schedule your free consultation, visit rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 today. That's rogersroofing.com or 933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
MCR Partners is your one-stop destination for top-notch expertise in economic development, finance, and planning. With a dedicated team geared up to tackle your projects head-on, they're your go-to comprehensive solution providers. Dive into the world of economic development with MCR Partners and let them guide you through the maze of opportunities. Stay in the loop and connected by hitting up their website at mcrpartnersllc.com, or for tailored assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to Matt Reardon at 219-741-9511.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard for Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for Tortilla Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
Thank you to our sponsors, including our studio sponsor, Power in Indiana, Lake County. So as the mayor and I often say, Todd Rokita, the Attorney General of the state of Indiana, seems to keep cropping up in our feed.
We have to do an unofficial survey. Is he the most talked about politician on Lockpod?
Got to be.
Trump, got to be up there.
Yeah.
Trump's got to be up there, yeah. But I think
Who else?
Todd Rokita, our Attorney General Rokita, is up there. And this is an interesting one. I know we've got a guest coming on, so I want to move through
we
this.
We do have a great guest coming on, by the way.
The reason this is interesting to me is that it's Republican on Republican crime, yeah. So what we have here is there was this bill that sailed through the House. It's called House Bill 1531. What it would require is local law enforcement officers to comply with the federal detainer requests for undocumented immigrants, and it would also have banned employers from hiring unauthorized residents. Went through the House 6426. It goes over to the Senate. Guess where it lands? Lands in the Judiciary Committee. Who's the head of the Judiciary Committee? Senator Liz Brown. Okay, Senator Liz Brown is a Republican. She is the head of the very powerful Judiciary Committee in the Senate. And the bill, which sailed through the House, never gets a hearing in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
which happens, by the way.
Of course it happens. And she's
every year.
The chairwoman of the committee.
To dozens of bills that will pass one chamber.
For sure.
And they don't even get the time of day in the other chamber. This happens every year. It's a normal thing.
So General Rokita, in a April 30th interview with conservative radio host Casey Hendrickson in Indianapolis, said the bill stalled because, quote,
Casey, right?
It says Casey Hendrickson.
Oh, okay.
So not Rob Kendall.
Rob Kendall.
Yeah, Casey Hendrickson. So it says General Rokita said that the legislation stalled because, quote, someone had a personal grudge against the language, naming Fort Wayne Senator Liz Brown as the barrier. She told me one of the reasons was that she's got a family member who's an illegal alien. Rokita told the radio host.
Okay, let me stop real quick.
Yeah.
So, I know, can he be sued for that? Because he's talking about an elected official, and he's an elected official. But, that goes above and beyond, right? When, especially if it's not true factually.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happened. I mean, the Liz Brown's team said the claim was, quote, blatantly false, and then said, quote, Senator Brown does not have an illegal alien relative. The claim by General Rokita is blatantly false, is meant to be misleading to constituents to make them think that Senator Brown has a personal conflict in performing her duties as chair of the committee, and that these public erroneous statements are made in an attempt to hurt the credibility of the legislative process. And then she went on to confirm that she filed an official grievance and request for an investigation into his comments with the Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission.
And Rokita's got half
One
a dozen.
pending.
But like he's been in front of the Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission a number of times as Attorney General.
I know. Well, one for sure that we know that he kind of reached an agreement with, right? That's what
Right.
we've talked about.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if he's got other complaints as Attorney General. I'm sure
Like-
he gets them.
That's like, for anybody out there, going in front of the Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission as a lawyer is not good, obviously. I mean, I'm sure most people realize that. But like when you lose your license, they'll suspend you for 6 months. And in 6 months, they allow you to reapply.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. And often, let's say you were suspended for 6 months. You lose your livelihood for 6 months. And then after 6 months, you could reapply for your license. They don't have to say yes. And they typically don't for a while.
Yeah, sometimes it's automatic reinstatement, and other times it's not. You have to apply.
It could be like years.
Yeah, it's scary, right? I don't. To me, I didn't feel like this. I'm not sure where this disciplinary complaint's going. I mean, he's just talking about a bill, and he's saying. I mean, if anything, I would think that he would be more concerned about a civil issue.
But he lied about her family status.
According to her, he did.
Well, I mean, I imagine if she didn't have an illegal alien in her family, she wouldn't be making such a stink right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess he said that she either provided. This is what his response to her was. She either provided inaccurate or unclear information to me and others in the past, or she's backtracking now. So, and then he said,
You
as
could
far
just
as
straight lie about people now, and like you don't even get called out. Like I could just make shit up about people.
I hope not. As
But
for a disciplinary
it
complaint,
seems like that's what's going on, Kev.
yeah. This is interesting. He says, as for a disciplinary complaint, Liz can get in line.
That's because there's a
Wow.
lot of people complaining. It just proves what we just said. This guy got half a dozen people complaining against him.
It's crazy. So,
Insane. I tell you, I mean, having to go to the to the Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission as a lawyer, I would be devastated and afraid for my
I'll tell you this.
career, my
General
livelihood.
General Rokita really feels that it's a affront to him, and he seems to want to take him on.
I think General Rokita likes it because he could play this victim, like, oh my God, I'm out
He
here
calls it
doing
lawfare.
I'm out here doing MAGA's work, and and everybody's trying to stop me, and
He said the weaponization of the disciplinary commission and lawfare.
of course.
All right, so I know we got a guest waiting. I want to do this one video of President Trump.
This video we've been talking about wanting to do this for a couple shows now.
Yes.
So
So just background here. Everybody knows about the person from Maryland, Mr. Abrego Garcia, who was taken on a plane to El Salvador. The Supreme Court of the United States says the United States should be facilitating his return. The Trump administration is saying he's a bad guy. Where that stands, I don't know, but that's not why I'm taking this video on. So one of the big pictures that the president showed about Mr. Abrego Garcia was his hand, and there was a tattoo on his hand of a marijuana leaf, a smiley face. Here we go. Marijuana leaf, a smiley face, a cross, and a skull. Now, those are symbols. On top of those knuckles,
Here's a closer
someone in the administration, I assume, someone in the Trump administration or somebody, like put the numbers and letters MS-13 to kind of interpret the symbols for the public.
is that what it? Is
Yeah.
that really what that stands for?
Well, I don't know.
Marijuana, smiley,
We don't know.
one guy.
I don't know. That's what
What
someone's
is the
saying it is.
relevance of a skull to the number 3?
I guess they're saying the 3 holes in the skull.
Okay.
All right. So
Interesting.
And all right.
And
So
then
anyway, yeah.
okay.
Right. So that's the interpretation of the government or someone in the government or some law enforcement entity that said,
Right.
"Hey, let me interpret these symbols for you."
Yeah.
and
This-
they photoshopped
MS-13 on his knuckles.
MS-13
Right.
on each.
So that
Yes.
they could show the president, like, okay, the marijuana leaf is
Right.
an M, and they
Yes.
photoshopped an M on there.
And the smiley face is
the
an S.
smiley face is an S, so they put an S on there. The cross is a 1, so they put a 1 on there, and the skull has 3 holes in it, so they put a 3. And they put MS-13 photoshopped over the top of the knuckle.
Yeah.
And over the top of the symbols,
Right.
To kind of say, like, here's
Yeah.
what this
This
means.
one means M,
for
this
those
one
that
means
may not
S.
be familiar with gang
Gotcha.
symbols,
I
right,
understand
or
what
whatever.
I understand what
he
you're saying.
definitely is not.
Right. And we're not even. I don't even want to get into
Yeah,
like
I'm
the
not
whole debate,
defending
right?
this guy.
I mean, I would maybe, but I don't even know yet. So I'm not there yet on defending, not defending. But the fact is,
No,
as we all know, we
I'm
all
saying
need due
Trump
process.
is not familiar with gang stuff.
He is not.
Oh.
And we've already had the due process argument here on Lockpod. But this was a crazy interview on ABC News, and you got to hear how President Trump just won't relent with the interviewer, who I think is trying to get him off an embarrassing.
Yeah, because the interviewer knows the president's wrong, and he's trying to like move on to not embarrass the president because he's like, "You're wrong, but I'm not going to say you're wrong. Let's just move on to the next topic, right?" And
Right.
Trump won't let it go.
So remember we talked about how the symbols are on the knuckles, and somebody in the government or someone in law enforcement wanted to interpret it for all of us of what those symbols mean. Here's the president.
He wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and
All right.
on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
Well,
over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles
didn't say-
tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute.
I
Hey,
will-
Terry.
He did not
Don't
have the
do that.
letter MS13.
It says MS-13.
Yeah, that was photoshopped. So let me
That
just...
was Photoshop, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to
Terry,
move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
And you think it
agree
was
to disagree.
Photoshop? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He
Fair
had
enough.
MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine,
No,
sir.
Terry,
I want to get to
Terry,
Ukraine.
No. He had MS, as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe
Oh, my
the
God.
news, because
When
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't
Take a look
there,
at the
but they're
photograph.
there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
he's got MS-13
Oh,
on his
my God.
knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
We'll take a look at that.
It's you do
We'll take a
such a
look at that.
disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
It's contested.
That is.
It is painful.
Oh my God.
It's like old man painful in a way.
oh
Like, right?
my
like,
God, dude. That is so bad.
I can't believe that went on for a minute.
I'm
and it
so
just keeps
embarrassed
getting
for
more
you.
painful.
The reporter is so nice. He's like, okay, agree to
How about
disagree.
Ukraine? Let's go to the Ukraine.
Let's move on because, oh my God, dude, that makes me want.
And funny, I had not heard that. Like, it wasn't reported a lot. We found this, and it was. I just
I
was
don't know
like,
why. For some reason, I like Trump more after that. I don't know. There's just
I
something
don't-
endearing
really?
about it.
Oh, it kind
That's
of
the
endearing,
problem
like in
with
an old
America.
man way, right? Like of course, this 79-year-old man doesn't know that that's on his knuckles.
in Trump's head is like never relinquish, never,
No,
never
never.
admit failure.
And this ABC News guy is trying
You're
to screw
wrong.
me over.
It's like the Jedi mind trick. I'm just gonna stay strong, and you're gonna come to my side eventually.
Who's the poor staffer that had to explain to the president that those were photoshopped on there?
That person got fired.
I bet they just kind of let it go. They're like,
They
yes,
might
sir,
have been
you're
like,
right.
Yeah.
Is
You're
it,
right.
is it possible Trump was talking about the tattoos itself?
No.
No.
John,
He really thought-
John,
Okay,
Yes.
he said, it says MS-13, he even said.
Okay, you're right. Okay,
Dude.
okay.
All right.
They're gonna actually take the prisoner. They're gonna pin the prisoner down, and they're gonna tattoo MS-13.
Yeah,
on his
just to
hand,
prove the president right.
Yeah, so, hey guys, we got Jack Moore waiting right now. So let's go ahead and do some ads. When we come back, we're gonna have Jack Moore, a great guest who's coming to Lockpod. I want to thank him very much. And a former history professor, a former prosecutor, and a lifelong student of the JFK assassination. This is a very interesting gentleman. We're gonna have a great conversation. Coming back with Jack Moore right after these ads. So let's start off with Misprint. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing, always on time and within budget. Conveniently located in Munster and Hammond, Misprint is your partner for creating impactful visual solutions that leave a lasting impression. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today.
Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. Are you injured or in trouble with the law? Give Cantrell and Cantrell a call and schedule your consultation with someone who's in court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife, Kristen, make a great team and are waiting to hear from you.
Mice in the kitchen, ants in your bed, spiders up high messing with your head. Don't grab a flamethrower, that's a bit extreme. Just call the bug guys, we're the dream team. We'll evict your pests without a fight and you'll sleep soundly every night. No bugs, no drama, no creepy surprise. Just clean, safe home from the bug guys. Call now because your house is not an insect Airbnb. The bug guys at 219-810-7481.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Good job, Bug Guys.
They always do a good job.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and an outdoor patio, serving its award-winning craft beer, a chef-driven food menu, and craft cocktails on draft. Their brewing equipment and production facility offers a unique backdrop for events like bridal showers, reunions, or corporate parties. With their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate and private events off-site, just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
Prestmer Insurance Agency. For decades, the Ron J. Prestmer Insurance Agency has been located right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. Prestmer Agency specializes in a wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. Prestmer Agency serves thousands of people and businesses throughout Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
Michelob Ultra, the official sponsor of the PGA, is a superior light beer with ultra-smooth taste. This refreshingly crisp light lager has only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, making it the perfect beer for the golf course or at the 19th hole. Check out the new Ultra Zero with only 29 calories, making it the perfect zero-alcohol beer for any time of the day. Head over to Cal Brew or the Michelob Ultra websites and social media pages for more information on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Michelob Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
Thank you to our ads. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to introduce Jack Moore. I'm going to give you his intro, and then we'll bring him in. Jack Moore is a former history professor, a former prosecutor, and a lifelong student of the JFK assassination. He wrote his master's thesis on the Kennedy case and has spent decades analyzing the evidence with the precision of a trial attorney. Jack brings a rare blend of academic rigor and legal insight to historical mysteries, always following the facts no matter where they lead. Whether he's revisiting the grassy knoll, challenging official narratives, or dissecting witness testimony, Jack applies a prosecutor's mindset to history's most persistent questions in his ongoing search for the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LockPod, Jack Moore. Nice to see you, sir.
Woohoo!
Good morning.
Hey,
How
Jack,
is everyone?
Good morning. We're good.
Baseball fan.
I was going to say,
it.
I'm just checking out
I'm repping the Red
background.
Sox today.
That's cool,
see
man.
that.
I was at the Cubs game last night. Cubs Giants. So I'm a baseball guy. We're all baseball fans over here. So welcome to
The kid at the top picture I had at 11 years of age. Saw him throw his first pitch in the big leagues when he was 22. And I'm a big Redskin fan, so
I can see that.
Yeah, I've done quite a few shows on the name change and all of that. But I grew up in RFK Stadium.
So hold it. So the kid that's pitching, that's your son? No. Okay.
I moved to Virginia Beach in 1993, and I go into an indoor facility. I was getting ready to go to law school, and I just finished up my master's degree, as you'd mentioned. And I go into an indoor facility and hang out my shingle to do personal instruction. I have him at 11, Josh Roop. I have David Wright at 11, Mark Reynolds at 12, Michael Kadire at 15, Jason Du Bois.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, all these kids were, I got to know Ryan Zimmerman well from playing with Mark at UVA, University of Virginia, but I never actually worked with him. But I had Justin Verlander on the fall ball team.
Wow.
So yeah, Virginia's crazy talented, and it was in a period it blew up. There was this guys getting drafted high left and right, and
Jack, I lived in Tidewater area the same time you lived there. I lived, in fact, my daughter Lindsay
I was there too.
Yeah, Lindsay was born in Hampton, Virginia, right around that same time. So we lived in the same area. So, yeah, I lived in the other side though. I started off in Norfolk, and then we moved to Newport News. But my submarine was based out of the submarine base in Norfolk. So,
thank you for your service.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But it's a nice area. It's a big area, man.
So, Jack, does a Redskins fan mean you're a Commanders fan?
Yeah. Let's talk about this.
Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin, who did spend 1 year as a Redskin, I think is a special kid. And you fall in love with certain players, and certain players seem to be really character guys. And there's a certain, since Quinn's come in, there's a certain energy that you couldn't help. I mean, they went from 5 wins to 12 wins and made it to the NFC Championship. Overall, I'm struggling with pro football. I'll be honest with you, because I think it's basically flag football now. And
I hate that too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got the 21 up here. I saw Sean Taylor's Sean Taylor's the greatest player I ever saw. I mean, in person, I never saw a player like him. Dead at 24, shot in his own home. You know the story. But, I don't even know if he could play today with the way he hit people. It's really just a different game. I actually get into that argument with young players. I'm on a bus 10 years ago, and I'm like, guys, football peaked in the 80s and 90s. And one of the kids was like, Coach, I don't know if those guys could play today. I'm like, you don't think Lawrence Taylor could play today?
Yeah,
you don't think Reggie White?
Yeah.
So we go on, and finally I kind of end the argument with, I'm like, okay, guys, who's your Bo Jackson? Tell me your generation's Bo Jackson. And I pretty much shut him down, because they start looking at film, and they're like, God, who is this guy? And I'm like, yeah, and he played baseball too. He's pretty good. So it was a different era.
I think guys our age can make that argument about a lot of people, right? Like we grew up around here with Walter Payton, Mike Singletary, Michael Jordan. You can have that debate.
But you know what's great about as a baseball fan, the fact that you can see a Shohei Ohtani right now, and he's literally walking Babe Ruth. I mean, he's better than Babe Ruth probably. And I mean, like, that's why I go out of my way. You know, I'm no Dodgers fan, by the way. I hate the Dodgers, but I go out of my way to make sure that I watch Shohei every time he comes to bat. Any chance I get to go see him, it's just like it's special. We're watching history right in front of us.
Yeah, you know, I was in college coaching in my 20s, and we were playing Spartanburg Methodist Junior College, and I was coaching at a school in North Carolina, and they were taking infield. And I don't know what this is, but it's served me well throughout life as far as evaluating talent. I turned to my guys in the dugout, and I'm like, hey, guys, go get the shortstop's autograph. And they're like, what are you talking about, coach? I'm like, the shortstop, check him out, you know. And they're like, we don't know what you see. It was Reggie Sanders, and he played 19 years in the big leagues.
No way.
Wow.
And he just looked different. And I'm saying what I'll set up is when I'm about the same age as Darryl Strawberry, I went to a game and saw him at 24. He went 5 for 5 against the Braves. He had a home run that looked like a golf ball. He had a line drive to right field that Claudell Washington played just like a comebacker to the mound. Like if he misplayed it, it would have gone to the wall. So he was special. The next guy I ever saw like that was just different was Josh Hamilton. So Josh Roop up here played with Hamilton. So I got to see him a lot.
Josh was the guy that ran into trouble off the field, right?
Oh, yeah. But
he was great, though. He played for the Rangers, too.
Yeah, he was insanely good. And then the next guy, to the eye, that I thought looked next level was Xander Bogaerts. So I got a friend of mine that coaches third for the Rangers. He was interim manager. I went to Fenway, and I saw Bogaerts for 2 days, and I saw him live, and I was like, wow. So I say all that to say this. I've seen Ohtani play live. I have a young man that I worked with as a pitching instructor who's a major league umpire now. And I asked him once, I said, who's the best pitcher you've ever seen behind the plate? And he goes, Verlander. I'm like, anybody else? He goes, Ohtani's in that range. When he was healthy pitching, yeah. I was like, who's the best hitter you've seen? He goes, Freddie Freeman. Because if there's a strike thrown in a hitting count, he never misses.
Right.
So, you know, there's guys he talks about. But I got to be honest with you. When I saw Ohtani from what he was doing DH in that day, he was with the Angels still. It was just like, okay. And I didn't see him hit a ball really well. But I know I agree with you. I know it's in there. I know he's a special player. But I think playing today, too, many guys I know that see a lot of baseball are like, you got to see Mookie Betts play. You got to see Mookie. It's different. Yeah, there's just some guys that are more electric than others.
Well, let me switch gears a little bit.
We come right into the baseball. This is baseball talk.
Yeah, this is when our wives text and say, "You guys got." I'm not.
I could tell looking at my daughter, her eyes were like.
So I want to talk about JFK a little bit because obviously one of the reasons.
A little bit.
Yes, a lot.
I'm actually a big fan also of the JFK.
So
his whole career, just everything, but then the mystery surrounding his death and assassination. Like, there's so many different theories out there, and they all have a lot of credible points. Being made.
So you wrote your thesis about JFK assassination. I've got a copy of the Warren Commission report. Tell me, just like top level for our listeners, your belief as to what happened at the assassination.
Thank you.
Oswald did it.
Yeah.
Single.
What?
One shooter?
He's the only shooter.
Really?
Right.
There you go.
Why did Ruby kill him?
I can cut to the chase. I do multiple shows on this, so I just always kind of go to this.
Yeah.
All right. When I write my thesis, I finish in 1993. And as I'm finishing my thesis, Gerald Posner publishes Case Closed. Mm-hmm. My thesis advisor literally said, Mr. Moore, I've never questioned your integrity, but did you know this book was coming out? I didn't write Case Closed. I'm not saying it's anything in that league, but I pretty much said the same thing, only I left it with, I'm pretty sure Oswald did it, but I don't know why. So I set this up this way. A few years ago, I listened to an historian say something that I'd never heard anyone yet say, and it's sort of like, oh wow, I can relate to this. He said there's two major churches, and they are churches of the assassination. The first is the Church of the Grand Conspiracy. Its chief priest was Mark Lane, and Oliver Stone is one of its disciples. Mm-hmm. And they are, no matter how slight the inconsistency, there's a grand conspiracy. They're shooters all over, etc.
Involving the government and everybody, right?
Whoever, yeah.
Right.
Fidel, CIA,
Russia,
mob, Castro,
Gotcha.
And we can get into all, right.
Gotcha.
Then there is the Church of the Lone Nut. and that is Vincent Bugliosi, Gerald Posner, etc. And he goes, but there is another lane. Oswald did it, but why? Now, I don't want to go on and on here, but I want to tell you a quick story. In 1990, I went to Dealey Plaza for the first time. I went with my dad, who passed away a few years ago, just a couple of years ago. And he was military, highly trained. And we went to the window, and I said, Dad, what do you think? He goes, that's an easy shot. So I had a Marine on the other day, and I said, well, how far do you think? He's like, no way it happened that way. And I'm like, well, it happened that way because it happened that way. Now, you can get into all kinds of questions of whether it's Oswald, but it was an open car. It was rifle fire. It did happen that way. So I asked the guy, I said, how far do you think it was to the headshot? He goes, oh, my God, I don't know, 150, 200 yards, I'm like 88. He goes, I'm sorry, what? I said, yeah, the body shot, which sets up what we call the single bullet theory, is 51 yards. It's 150 odd feet. So if you get in the window, you think you could throw a rock and kill him. So I go there in 90, go back in 92, and then in 94, have a friend that's an athletic trainer. She's like, hey, you want to go to Dallas? There's an athletic trainers convention. I'm like, yep, we end up driving. So we drive down, and I drop her off at 8 a.m. at this convention hall, and I drive to Dealey Plaza. And I'm thinking, I got all day to play in Dealey Plaza. I'm on the grassy knoll, and the guy comes rolling down the hill in a suit. He's got a, suit and tie. He comes up and he goes, hey, dude, what do you think happened? I'm like, well, I'm one of those crazy people think Oswald did it. Follow me. So we go up on the hill, and we argue with the guy that's got 14 shooters in 39 locations. And, he's got all these magazines. So we argue with him. We pull away, and he goes, wow, you really know your stuff. What's your story? I said, well, I just wrote a master's thesis. So I'm like, you too, what's your story? And his comment was, he said, well, I'm from Northern Virginia. My daddy's somebody. And I'm like, I'm from Virginia. What do you mean? He goes, well, my dad made phone calls. This guy's 2 or 3 years older than I am in 1994. And he said, my dad made phone calls, and he got me into the House Select Committee on Assassinations as a page. What are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, nothing. So we ride to the Neely Street address. We pull right in the backyard where the backyard photograph was taken. We go to 1026 North Beckley, where Oswald's room and house. We go to Jefferson Boulevard, where he was arrested. We run all over Creation. And then we go out to dinner that night. And he said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, same thing. I have the car. What you need? And he said, well, I'm going to pilot for American Airlines. I need to go back to the airport. You could save me taxi fare. Yeah, I'll pick you up. So I pick him up. And this is the drum roll. Here's the big moment. He reaches in the back seat, grabs his American Airlines garment bag, and starts to get out. I lean over the front seat, and I said, hey, dude, I might not ever see you again. So tell me, what am I not going to learn for 50 years? And he said, hey, Oswald did it. I saw everything. The problem of what they're covering up is his ties to U.S. intelligence. The fact that he was a Marine. And then that's stuck with me ever since. I think that's what's really going on.
One of the things I was going to ask you today was this whole 63,000-page dump that happened in March. Should we consider that to be like anything important, anything new? Did you see anything in that was like, oh, this is a ring, something going off, or I got to report on this?
No, I mean, I think everything supports what I just said. Like the fact that James Jesus Angleton, the movie Good Shepherd, Matt Damon, that was based upon his life, Yale graduate, Skull and Bones, all these guys that are in intelligence post-World War II as they create the CIA, all these guys jump in, they're Northeastern establishment types. And they're surveilling Oswald in 59. They're going through his mail. And my understanding is Oswald's not the only U.S. military personnel guy, and it was across several branches. It wasn't just the Marine Corps that did this. Oopsie, I just realized I'm a commie. I want to go to the Soviet Union. He wasn't the only one. So he goes to the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, according to their history, and I think it's valid, they snipped him out immediately. The things he came in and said when he wanted to go to the Soviet Union, they already knew. He wasn't saying anything they didn't already know.
Hey, Jack, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Did you read the book by Stephen King that had to do with this assassination? It was the date of the day. I want 11/22.
11/22/63, and they made it into the miniseries.
Yeah. The miniseries sucked, but the book was. I thought the miniseries sucked personally, but the book was amazing. I loved the book, and you're talking, and I'm relating that back to the book, and it took a factual situation that you're talking right now and then made it like a fictional super story. But you did read it, I imagine, right?
I read the book and I watched the series, and I thought the series they tracked. In the series, they go back to 1960 every time. In the book, it goes back to 58. And in the series, he's trying to save the custodian's from the parents or the children from the father. And it's a girl that got shot in the woods or something in the book. You know,
Right.
there's always going back to try. And every time he does that, it screws up time.
Right.
Yeah. But it's in it. Yes, it's a really good book.
Any opinion on Mayor Tom's first question, which was why Jack Ruby shoot Oswald?
All right. Again, I'm a totally, believe me. Well, you don't know me to believe me, but I'm totally objective. I'm open to whatever. However, this is what I would say. I think I think Ruby is definitely mob connected. There's no question. The Chicago connection, Capone, Giancana. The other thing that's interesting, I've seen the document. I don't know how valid it is, but it looks pretty valid. 1947, when the United States, the House Committee on Un-American Activities was meeting, Richard Nixon, who was elected in 46 along with a guy named John F. Kennedy, they're both elected to the House the same year. As a new member of the House of Representatives, he issues out, I don't know exactly what the terminology would be, but a congressional order from whatever position authority he has. Please do not mess with Jacob Rubenstein. Don't call him before this committee. He's working behind the scenes for me. Well, Jacob Rubenstein is Jack Ruby. So if Nixon has a connection in 1947 to Jack Ruby, that's pretty interesting. Now, here is the history of that day, November 24th, 63, 2 days after the assassination. On the 50th anniversary, let me back up and say this. On the 50th anniversary, I met a young man who went on to interview Jim Lavelle. Jim Lavelle is the police officer, the detective, who is a Pearl Harbor survivor, by the way. He was in the Navy in Pearl Harbor. He is the one that is handcuffed to Oswald. So this guy reached out to him in his 90s. He lived to be 99, Lavelle. And he goes and speaks to him. And he says, what do you think? He goes, Jack's crazy as hell. He did it. There's no question. We all knew him. And he didn't have any questions about Ruby doing it just on a whim, thought he was going to be a hero, opened up, a bunch of new nightclubs. But he said something interesting. He said when they took him into custody, he said, Jack, what the hell are you doing? Why did you do this? And he goes, hey, I'm going to be famous. Or he was kind of saying that kind of thing. And he goes, well, how the hell did you get in the basement? And he said, a police car was being backed out on one of the ramps. One of the ramps went out to Commerce Street. One went out to Main Street. One of the officers is back in this car to make clearance to try to bring in another car because they're finding out that the armored car wasn't going to fit. So at that time, he says an officer went out into the street to waive traffic, and this other officer backed his vehicle out. And he knew the officer, and he was right.
So just a bunch of circumstance almost.
But
Interesting stuff.
Here's the key point, though.
Yeah.
Ruby is at the Western Union telegraph office sending a wire to a stripper for money at 11:17 and killed Oswald 11:21.
Whoa.
And the other thing Lavelle told this gentleman I know
who that stripper is.
He doesn't like having outstanding debts.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, man, everything's going to change. I don't want to go to prison.
Well, okay.
Got to clear up my balance with
This is the thing with Ruby being involved is just the problem. Oswald's supposed to be moved at 10 a.m. And Lavelle told this friend of mine, they begged Jesse Curry the night before, do not move him in broad daylight. Do not move him in front of the press. And he's like, well, the whole world's looking at us. He had a black eye the first night. They're going to think we're beating the hell out of him. We got to show him to the press. All right. So the 10 o'clock move is supposed to happen. And then a postal inspector, the chief postal inspector in Dallas, decides that morning at 9 a.m. when he's dropping his wife off at church, he has questions for Oswald. Goes down to headquarters and holds Oswald up for over an hour. While he's doing that at 9:30 a.m., according to this guy named George Senator, who is staying with Ruby at the time, at 9:30 a.m., he's in his boxers, eating cereal and reading the newspaper.
Wow.
He gets a call from Little Lynn, one of the strippers that didn't get paid Friday night because he shut down the carousel club, so she didn't get her dollar bills or quarters or whatever the hell they got at that time.
Yeah, dollar bills was a lot of money back then.
Throwing quarters at the
like they
yeah,
took
they're throwing quarters, dimes, nickels, whatever.
They had on their G-string, they had the little change machines.
That's a good idea.
Like, they'd break change for you if you didn't want to give them a full quarter.
So she calls at 9:30 a.m. and says, Jack, I need $25. He goes, yeah, I'll be right down. I'm going to go downtown. So he dresses. He takes his dachshund Sheba, which he referred to as his wife, throws her in the car, drives down to Western Union. There are 3 people awaiting service. all three testified before the Warren Commission. He wasn't agitated. He wasn't in a hurry. The time stamp at 11:17 is for $26 and change to pay for the 25 to Little Inn. And then he says he walks out and goes, something's going on down the street here. They walk that distance. It takes 90 seconds. So it's about a 90-second walk. He says he walked down. He saw a commotion. When the cop car came out, he slipped down, saw Oswald, thought he had an interesting look on his face, and shot him. Now, on the flip side, there are other officers that said Ruby was known to be a health nut. He came out with like this exercise devices he was trying to sell, and he quit smoking several years before. And he wasn't a drinker, but he quit smoking. And they said after the shooting, he was sweating bullets. He's just pouring sweat. He's asking officers for cigarettes. He's chain smoking cigarettes. At 1:07 p.m., Oswald's declared dead. Cop comes in and says, Jack, it's murder one now, brother. And they said he completely calms down. Now, that theory is the mob came along and said, you shoot Oswald or we kill your sister. What you want to do? And that he did it fearing it, so that
it's so much information out there.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
yeah.
So,
Jack, we always wrap up after about an hour, and I just want to say thank you very much for appearing on LockPod with us. Obviously, amazing detailed knowledge of the JFK assassination. I've never heard anybody that could spout the facts off the top of their head.
Time,
like
location, people. We should just turn on the camera, John, and just let Jack just kind of go for a while. You know, like here's an hour and a half. We'll play it later, right?
Oh, you're an excellent storyteller, by the way.
I appreciate that.
Your prosecutor background. I mean, I imagine when you were you were deputy prosecutor, right, or were you the DA?
No. In Virginia, we could refer to it as a Commonwealth's attorney, and there's a chief deputy, there's deputies at different levels. I was an assistant Commonwealth's attorney. When I first started practicing.
I imagine an effective one. But anyway, everybody, let's do this again for sure. Jack Moore, appreciate you coming on LockPod. We're very honored that you're here. Thank you very much for all the detailed knowledge about the JFK assassination. And I want to thank all of our guests for listening to LockPod today. Season 15, episode 4 is in the books. We're going to be back on Friday with another great episode. Thanks to Kevin Smith, Lindsay Maxine, Lindsay Brasco,
my middle name,
Jay Vez, and coming to you from the Locomotive. And again, want to thank Jack for coming on and being a great guest.
And is there a website or anything, Jack, that you want our listeners to go to? Yep.
Moretoconsider.com. I'm also on YouTube, Rumble, but everything is play on my name. OOREMOORE.
One word. More to consider.com.
All right. There you go, everybody.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you very much, sir. And good luck to the Nationals. Good luck to the Red Sox. Yeah, good luck to the Red Sox. And appreciate you very much for coming on LockPod, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thanks to the audience. We appreciate you all. Thanks to our sponsors. Everybody listening to LockPod. We'll be back on Friday with another great episode. Thanks, everybody. Take care. LockPod's out.